What's up, everyone? Welcome to the February 26th edition of FanDuel Tournament Plays presented by PrizePicks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, you get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum when you sign up and make a deposit at PrizePicks. Be sure to use the code Awesemo to receive a 100% first deposit bonus up to $100. Today, we have a 6-game NBA slate, and this is the first Saturday where I've done these videos. Be sure to keep an eye out for those going forward. We will continue to put them out on Saturdays in addition to every day of the work week. And we're going to take a look at 5 of the top tournament options on FanDuel as things currently stand. Starting at number 5, Thaddeus Young, currently projected for about 1% ownership with a 9% chance of being in the optimal lineup. That ownership projection may come up a bit as the day goes on, but you can see from the gap in projected ownership and chances of being in the optimal lineup that there's a pretty wide margin for error there, where Young is still going to be projected to be underowned. He's only $4,000 with power forward eligibility. The Raptors will once again be without OG Anunoby tonight in what is likely to be a high-scoring game against the Atlanta Hawks. Young has played about 20 to 22 minutes in each of the last 2 games, one where Fred VanVleet was out, and then last night where OG Anunoby was out. In the limited sample that he has with the Raptors, Young has only averaged 0.84 FanDuel points per minute, but overall this season, including his time with San Antonio, he's averaged 1.09 FanDuel points per minute, and he's got a long track record of being a productive fantasy option. Number 4, Pascal Siakam, projected for 9% ownership with a 17% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Siakam was disappointing last night against Charlotte, as were most of the Toronto players, but he's still reasonably priced tonight at $9,300. This game is likely to be high scoring. He only has power forward eligibility, which makes it a little bit more difficult to get him into lineups, but also keeps his ownership in check. In the games that Siakam has played with Fred VanVleet active this season, he's averaged 1.13 FanDuel points per minute and 37.4 minutes per game. If tonight's game is competitive, it's likely that you get a couple more minutes above his season average from Siakam as well. Number 3, Jrue Holiday is projected for 19% ownership with a 23% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Holiday is $7,700 with point guard and shooting guard eligibility. He's averaged 1.07 FanDuel points per minute and 32.7 minutes per game in the games that he's played with both of Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton active this season. But it's a favorable matchup tonight against the Nets. There is some blowout risk here with Milwaukee being 10-point favorites at home, but the Bucks also have the highest implied total on the slate, and there are some strategic reasons to like Holiday in addition to just the fact that he looks a little bit underowned. If we expect Milwaukee to score a lot of points, we know that a lot of times that means Giannis is going to have a really good game, but there's also other pay-up options on this slate that we like Trae Young, John Morant, obviously Nikola Jokic in Denver. So it might not be that easy to really build around Giannis and prioritize him. Holiday gives you a way to get exposure to the high-powered Milwaukee offense without having to break the bank on Giannis. Number 2, Jimmy Butler, projected for 21% ownership with a 27% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Butler is $8,900 with shooting guard and small forward eligibility. He gets a pace-up matchup against the San Antonio Spurs, who are on the second half of a back-to-back and played a double overtime game against Washington last night. Miami has a healthy 117 implied total here, and in 16 total games that Butler has played with all of Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, and Bam Adebayo active this season, Butler has averaged 1.18 FanDuel points per minute. He's likely to give you around 35 minutes if tonight's game against the Spurs is competitive. And number 1, Fred VanVleet, going back to the Raptors, projected for 21% ownership with a 28% chance of being in the optimal lineup. VanVleet has averaged 1.06 FanDuel points per minute and 38.2 minutes per game in the games where he has played with Pascal Siakam this season. If this game's competitive, you could get 39 or 40 minutes from VanVleet, and he's only $8,000 with point guard eligibility. One risk with VanVleet, not only is it a back-to-back, but he is still a little bit banged up. He's acknowledged that he's playing through some discomfort. So it can always be difficult to quantify exactly how an injury like that is going to affect the player. But at $8,000 in a relatively fast-paced game in a good spot, I'm more than willing to get the VanVleet. So to recap, the top 5 tournament options on FanDuel as things currently stand: number 5, Thaddeus Young; number 4, Pascal Siakam; number 3, Jrue Holiday; number 2, Jimmy Butler; and number 1, Fred VanVleet.